Good morning, colleagues. Today we are going to solve exercise 3.3 from the book Electric Circuit Fundamentals. Well, in this exercise it is good for us to solve or determine the voltage V1 and the voltage V2 by doing new analyses. The first thing I advise doing is a visual analysis of the direction of the currents or the polarity we cut to know the direction in which the current flows along the path. I explain. This 3 amp source is here. When you reach this point you have to turn to the side. One of those paths I say is this because at this point the tension is 0. That is, it does not oppose the direction of the current. I assume that the other current is this way because the polarity of the voltage tells me that the force is exerted to the left, so I assume that it is Z. The current, this current I'm going to call I1, this one I'm going to call I2. Now, I'm going to stop at this one. I'm going to do nodal analysis on point B2. I'm going to look at the currents that enter. They will be equal to the currents that leave. At that point the currents that enter, is only 3 amperes, 3 amperes. Then I put the units that will be equal to the current I1. The current I1 plus the current I2, where the I1, well, we are going to put 3 amperes and it will be equal. The I1 is that's why it has the voltage B2 along this path, which is exerting a serious force, B2, but the tension of this source that is here, well, it is also exerting a force over there, plus 2 volts, sorry, the 2 volts, P2 plus the 2 volts. Exert a, it would be all about the resistances. That would be 2 more. What is here is the current IV. Well, all this adds up to the current N2, but the current N2 is the termination 2 over 4. So, if I optically turn I will have 3 amperes, easy. AB2 good. Now, plus P2 over 4. Well, so far we go. Now, I keep applying something. I'm going to have 3, just like B2 over 10 plus 2 over 10. Separating this, plus B2 now, if I add B2 over 10 plus B. Two over 4. This is going to give me 7 over 20, P2, like that. Three, and I'm going to pass this on somewhere else to find out. Minus 2. I continue. Operating. It would be 7 over 20, B2, B2, B3 minus 2 over 10. If I do this operation, it will be 14 times 5. If you want you can verify it with the calculator. All that remains is to wait for B2, where 20 becomes multiplication and 7 becomes division. Therefore, B2 B2 is going to be equal to 8 volts. P2 is worth 8 volts. Now, what they ask me to find is attention B1. Attention B1 is the same attention that falls on the 8 ohm resistor. Well, they ask us for B1 and B2. We already have B2, so B1 is going to be equal to the current I1 times the 8 ohm resistor. Okay, now, but how much has I read? I1. We had expressed variables in this part, and 1 is B2 plus 2 over 2 plus 8. So I1 is equal to B2, but B2 is 8 volts plus 2 pixaic. About 2 plus 8. 2 plus 8 we had already said that it was 10. Those and 1. So the replacement in B1 is going to be 1 ampere times 8 ohms. 8. So, B1 is going to be worth 8 volts, whatever. Comrades. See you in the next.